What's going on, guys? This is Waylon Martin with Bodybuilding.News. Today we are bringing you Craig Titus versus King Kamali. This one has a killer ending, guys.
You know what I really want in a girl? Me. I need to find a new vagina. Any kind of new vagina.
Craig Titus versus King Kamali. This is not necessarily a rivalry that you would initially expect, because on paper there's nothing that would really make these guys go against each other. When King Kamali was winning collegiate nationals, for example, in 1994, Craig Titus was already competing at the actual national level and turned professional in 1996. Qualifying to become IFBB professional, this would be stalled because in 1997 he would actually have to go to prison for a little bit over a year. However, by the time that Titus was released, Kamali had already qualified for IFBB professional status as well in 1999, winning the NPC Nationals. But when he could have competed in 2000, he did not choose to do so. Instead, he would wait until the year 2001. But because of this, we have to assume that Kamali was on Titus's radar, as they're both coming out at the same time span. The year 2001, Titus's second year competing, Kamali's first as IFBB professional bodybuilders, would have to go to Kamali. This is because he would best Titus at all three contests that entered that year, including the Olympia, where he would come out looking his best possibly ever, coming in 10th place, a pretty astounding placing at that time for a rookie professional. Consequently, Titus would land behind him in the 12th place spot, and this is when the rivalry was really begun. But in 2002, Kamali would be beat by Titus at the contest they would enter that year. And in 2003, things would heat up even more when Titus did an interview with Bodybuilding.com's Ron Avedana. In that interview, Titus called out Kamali multiple times and stated that he would destroy him at the Night of Champions, and actually delivered on some of those promises. Although at points he made outlandish claims like they were going to have a bare-knuckle UFC type fight. This rivalry would come to a head in 2004 at the Australian Grand Prix, where Titus and Kamali would be called out individually and compared directly next to one another. Though both losers at this competition,
losers in other words,
it was a very cool comparison that added an element to bodybuilding that's often not seen. And it ended with a handshake that demonstrates that to the core, these guys didn't really hate each other too much. In actuality, we can see them together in a few photos, hanging out, etc. These guys were promoting each other, and it was a win-win situation for both of them. So maybe there were some truth in those jabs that they're making at one another. However, at the core of things, I think they didn't really hate each other too much. But appropriately so, in 2005, Titus would end his career yet again competing against Kamali, and Kamali would get the best of Titus at this competition, where Kamali would come in 5th place at the Ironman Pro, with Titus landing directly behind him in the 6th place position. The Kamali and Titus rivalry isn't going to be compared to guys like Kevin Lavrone's with Flex Wheeler's and Ronnie Coleman's, or Phil Heath and Kai Green. However, it is one that's very notable and demonstrates something that sometimes could be used in bodybuilding, which is an entertainment factor. There can only be one Mr. Olympia, and so these types of little subplots add an element to bodybuilding that's sometimes needed. But 2005 would end in Kamali's favor, when Titus would get arrested for the murder he committed earlier that year.
Frick killed a guy.
And just like that, the rivalry was over and decided. Not only had Kamali won on stage, but he won off as well. So that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. This is Waylon Martin with Bodybuilding.News, out.